And God said, "Let there be
The
light."
Lord says, "Let my people go."
I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
This is the Talkin' Bible podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the final episode of this week's Talkin' Bible podcast. Final episode of the week with Jeannie Schwartz. Hello, Jeannie.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Yes.
And we've had some curly ones this week.
Yeah, we have. This has been an interesting week.
Yeah, it doesn't, well, this one's curly. It's a bit more spoken about, a bit more understood, because we talk about this one quite a bit in church life. So, but it's still a complex one to understand if you don't have any context. We're talking about Jesus being challenged in the temple courts about whether or not he should pay taxes. Should the Jews pay taxes? So where do you want to go?
Well, let's just first of all mention this happens in three Gospels.
Mm-hmm.
This story appears.
Yep.
Slightly different in each of them. But
Slightly different?
I'm going to concentrate mostly on Matthew.
Okay. It looks like in all of them it's happening at the same time, most likely during Passion Week. So towards the end of his life, I think.
So he's already come into Jerusalem, ridden on the donkey or the colt.
That's right. Presumably this is happening in his conversations with the Pharisees and the teachers of the law in the final week.
He's already turned over the places in the temple, right?
Turned
money
over
changing.
Money changing, yeah. So there's a lot of antagonism towards him at this point from the religious leaders. So, yes, all three, Mark 12 would be. So all three, Matthew 22, Mark 12 and Luke 20 are all in Passion Week.
Yeah, I will just say that in the first verse of all of them, Matthew says it's the Pharisees who were trying to plot him.
Mm-hmm.
In Mark, it says the Pharisees and the Herodians.
Yes, it does say.
And then in Luke, it just says they were
the leaders.
Spies.
The leaders sent spies.
Yes.
Yep.
So who are the Herodians?
So the fact that the Herodians were in league with the Pharisees was quite remarkable in itself. So the Herodians were followers of King Herod, who was the overruling leadership. Now
Jewish.
Well, yeah, king of the Jews. He wasn't necessarily Jews.
Was he mixed or something?
He was Idumea, and he married a Jew.
Right.
We're talking about Herod the Great. By the time we get to this story, Herod the Great's dead, and it's his son Herod Antipas, who's the Herod that kills John the Baptist, and he doesn't have any authority in Jerusalem. He's from up north in Galilee. But the Herodians would have been disciples of Herod, or those that believed that, or basically Herod's lackeys, I suppose, and they and the Pharisees would not have seen eye to eye. So the fact that those two, it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to mention it. You've got loads of people from different beliefs all ganging up on Jesus.
That's right. Yeah, they don't like each other, but they like Jesus even less. So let's just it's just while it's convenient for us to gang up together against Jesus.
And they want to trap him, and they want to find him doing something that can cause them to bring about give them reasons to kill him, I suppose.
Yeah, give them reasons to hand him over to Rome, because they knew they couldn't kill him himself. But if they can catch him in something that they can hand him over to Rome, then that's what they're after.
So they ask him a trick question.
Trick question. And this is actually, I just finished recording earlier in the week with Adrian about John 8, 1 to 11, which ironically is a very similar story, similar sort of context, and that's the woman caught in the act of adultery that you and I have talked about before.
Yes.
And it's the subject of my master's at the moment, so I'm absolutely baptized in that passage. But it actually was written and most likely belongs in Luke, and it belongs in Luke at the same time as this story. It's found in the story of Luke in other Gospels, not in John's Gospel. But it fits this context, same idea. They're trying to trap Jesus, doing something, getting him saying something that they can hand him over to the Romans and force the Romans to kill him.
So if anybody doesn't know, the Romans are in charge at this time, and they are occupying Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is led by the religious leaders.
Yep, under the Roman rule.
Under the Roman rule.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so when they ask the question, should they pay taxes, one answer would appeal to the Romans, and the others to the Jews, right? And either answer is wrong to somebody.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Well, either answer is going to get him. He's either going to lose. Let's just walk them through. If he says yes, pay taxes to Caesar, pay taxes to the Romans, the theory is that will discredit him in front of the Jews, because they don't want to pay taxes to an occupying ruler. And if he says, no, don't pay taxes, he would win himself with the Jews, because they go, yeah, that's right, we should stand up to the Romans. But that will be grounds for him to be accused of treason against Rome. And so the leaders could then go and say to the Romans, hey, Jesus, he doesn't pay taxes. He's advocating that these Jews don't pay taxes. He's a problem. You got to do something about this guy, because if you don't do something about it, all these Jews are going to stop paying your taxes.
Got it.
So that's the tension that he's facing.
So they say to him, Teacher, we know that you are truthful and teach truthfully the way of God. You don't care what anyone thinks, nor do you show partiality. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? And then I love it says here, verse 18, perceiving their malicious intent, Jesus said, why are you testing me, hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the tax. They brought him a denarius. Whose image and inscription is this? Jesus asked them. Caesar's, they say to him. Then Jesus says to them, give then to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And when they heard this, they were amazed. So they left him and went away. Why were they amazed?
Because he stumped them completely. They did not expect this answer. This was an answer that was so clever that it avoided the entrapment they gave him, while also making a really strong argument that showed up their hypocrisy.
And what is that argument?
That they were quite happy to pay taxes to Caesar, especially the leaders, because they were in bed with the Romans. They were getting kickbacks. So he was able to say, hey, I'm not against paying taxes to Caesar. He's showing that sometimes you've got to it was the Romans that were paying for the roads. It was the Romans that were maintaining a degree of peace. It was the Romans that would allow them to continue to worship God. So it wasn't all bad. I think that's what Jesus was saying. And so he caught them out in their hypocritical attitude, or their entrapment is what this is why you're trying to trap me there. To the point where they were completely stumped and walked away. They go, we've got nothing else that we can ask him now, because that completely did not work. They expected one answer or the other. And Jesus has found a way to uphold the standard of the Jews and please the Jews and say, well, look, yes, absolutely, give God what belongs to God, but also give Caesar what belongs to him, without the two being at parallel opposites with each other. And I suspect, just go a little bit further, I wonder if Jesus, by doing this, is actually I've never thought about this, whether he's cleverly actually shown up the hypocrisy in their hearts, because they weren't fully committed to God.
Yes, because what does it mean to give to God what's God's?
Yeah, I wonder if that's what's going on there. Unpack that a bit. Have you got any notes on that?
I might.
Go ahead, because I don't think I've ever thought about it like this, but I'm wondering if that's the hypocrisy that they've been caught in, is that they weren't actually giving to God everything that belonged to God.
Yes, because in Psalm 24, it says, the earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, the world and those who live in it. They're all God's. Everything belongs to God. This is not part of it, or is it? Everything belongs to God, not just human persons created in the divine image, but also the coins and the emperor. These are my notes.
Yes.
And emperors and Pharisees and the Herodians and the fish and the water and the bread and the wine. So everything, these religious leaders would have known that everything they have belongs to God, and yet they give nothing to him.
Yes.
And they particularly keep their hearts to them.
To themselves, yes, because it was convenient for them to do it. These leaders were getting kickbacks. So yes, absolutely.
And that's why he calls them hypocrites.
That's
because they aren't giving anything to God.
No. And they're trying to trap Jesus out, but they're actually not giving to God themselves. Yeah. I think that's what's going on. I wonder if it'd be interesting to dig a little bit more in that, because the reason it's just fresh in my mind, Jenny, is because it's so similar to the woman caught in the act of adultery, because at the end of that whole thing, Jesus stoops up and says, cast the stone if you're without sin, and they just all walk away. So N.T. Wright actually says, the woman caught in the act of adultery should more accurately be called the men caught in hypocrisy. That's actually a better interpretation of the story. And I like that, but it's the same as this. It's like Jesus answers in such a way that the entrapment is turned back on them. They were so focused on entrapping him, but their hearts weren't actually 100% for God anyway. In the case of that, they bring a woman, they've used that woman, there's no man there. In this story, they don't really care about the money. They don't care about whether Caesar gets his taxes or not. They don't care about the people who are living in subservience to the Romans. They just care about catching Jesus. That's their whole priority. It's completely hypocritical.
And that's right, because they're after Jesus because Jesus is disrupting the order of things at the moment.
He's disrupting their place of power and authority.
Yes. Yeah. And so they want to get rid of him.
Yep. and not because they think This is the thing: is they might think that, oh yeah, Jesus is making claims about himself that aren't fair and just. I'm sure they do. They don't like the fact that he claims his divine attributes and all that sort of stuff. But when you cut to the chase, what most upset these leaders about Jesus, whether it's the Pharisees in Galilee or the Pharisees and the leaders and the Sadducees in Jerusalem, whatever, what most upset them is that Jesus, and we also John the Baptist as well, were taking crowds to themselves. People were being taken away from them. They were losing their fan base. They were losing their authority. They were losing their power and position. That's what upset them.
Yes. And just to be clear, when people put money in the offering every week, it was the same denarius, right? They're not.
Yes.
It's not different money that they use for the temple.
That's a good question. No, I think it was. Yes, they didn't put denarius in. They had to change. That was what the money changes was all about. So they wouldn't use Roman coins with Caesar's inscription, which was regarded as an idol on it. They would change that to a different coin, a temple minted coin that would be used for the offering.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's why I asked.
No, it's not. And that's where the money change thing, the problem was that they were coming with their denarius, they're coming with their sheep, or they're coming with this, and they were trying to change it into doing money changes. And, money changes at the airports is still the same problem.
Yeah, yep.
They still usury even today, but that's what the problem was, that the exchange rate was unfair.
Okay, so they had their own special money for the temple.
Temple court, yes.
Yet they were using the Roman coins.
Yes, they had to use the Roman coins
life.
for daily life.
Okay, so they were getting rich off the Roman coins as well.
Yes, yeah, they were getting rich off the Roman coins as well.
Okay,
yeah.
That's just I just wanted to.
Yeah, that was the problem. These guys were benefiting from kickbacks in all kinds of ways: position kickbacks, power kickbacks, financial kickbacks. And they were jealous because the crowds were losing their affection toward them, or supposed affection or whatever, and following Jesus. And that threatened them. It threatened peace. And no doubt they thought it potentially threatened, they did think it threatened their peace, because if they were afraid, if the crowds followed Jesus, that would start an uprising, and then the Romans would come. You see this, this goes on, I think it's in John's Gospel. If this goes on, the Romans are going to come and take away everything. But what take away everything meant was they're going to take away everything that we have.
That's right.
All our power is going to be taken away, because the Romans are just going to institute their own governor, and we're going to lose all power. Once again, it was back to their own power and position and prestige that they were threatened by. And both this story and the woman in the well, the woman caught in adultery, illustrate these points.
Verse 25 here, when he says, give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God the things that are God's, it reminds me of, as it in Psalms when David writes, what you don't desire is money, you desire a
Psalm
broken
51,
heart or
a
something.
broken and contrite heart you will not despise.
What does it say?
Creating me a clean heart, O God. The sacrifices of God are a broken and contrite heart. If you desired bulls, I would have given the bulls. If you desired money, I would have given money. But what you're really looking for is a broken and contrite heart. Yeah.
Yeah, so is that what belongs to God?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Our heart.
Psalm 51, you could overlay over this whole story really well. Yes. What he's really looking for is a heart fully devoted. And these people were... Well, Jesus says, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me.
Yes, yeah. And it also makes me think, and you've probably thought this as well, that this image of Caesar was on this coin, but the image of God is upon us.
It's the heart, exactly. We are the coin.
Yeah. And then the statement, give to God what is God's. It's like, if I'm made in his image, is he asking me to give all of myself to him?
Brilliant. That goes all the way back to Monday's episode.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It arcs all the way back. That's what he's asking. We are the coin. And he is asking for all of us. We bear the image of God.
And they would have known that.
They should have known that, yeah.
That God is after the heart and the image of God within you.
Yep. Somehow along the line, they probably, I don't want to assume they never knew that. I think that if they've been raised, they would have known that. But somewhere along the line, power and prestige and position corrupted that, which I think is why we have to be careful. I don't think anyone sets out to go, I'm going to be, maybe the odd narcissist does, but I think most of us don't set out to go, I'm going to become an abuser of power and I'm going to make sure that everyone bows down and does things my way. But that's what power and position and money and wealth and prestige can do if we're not careful. The more we have, the more we have to be aware of that subtlety sneaking in.
Yes, and if you have, and that's when yesterday's episode comes into it. If your pastor is behaving in that manner, then you will have many people in the church to work through that issue.
Yes,
In
totally.
connection, relation to God.
Yeah, which is what ultimately does happen, sadly, in lots of churches today, where pastors are falling into these traps. And
you have to listen to yesterday to understand what we're talking about.
But the systems are being set up to facilitate and allow this, and that's what we need to be very careful about, is making sure that we're not championing the wrong things. We're not just championing charisma or what we want to hear or what we want our leaders to be rich and wealthy, because then we can be rich and wealthy. The list goes on. Let's just make sure that we maintain humility and give our hearts. We are the coin. Give our hearts. We are the coin. I like it. I hadn't thought about it before, but that's a good way you've led me there.
Verse 26, they say they are amazed. It says they are amazed at his answer. Are you amazed at his answer?
I could see how they would have been amazed at the answer. I think with the benefit of what I know now and our worldview, we do get it more easily. But I'm amazed at how clever the answer was.
Yeah, I'm amazed at that too.
Which is a masterful, wise answer. But I understand the answer now, whereas I don't even know if they even got it. I think they're just completely dumbfounded by the fact that, well, that didn't work.
Well, I think they would have known that psalm, as I read before.
Oh, yes, true. Yep, they would
everything
have,
on the earth belongs to God.
Well, when he says give to God what belongs to God, they would have known that meant everything. Yes, and maybe they feel that they're convicted themselves.
So who's Jesus in this moment?
I'm going to say that what Jesus, I want to try and give a one-word answer to what Jesus is here, and I want to use a different one other than Lord, because that's what I used earlier in the week. I can't think of another one other than Lord. This is a good example of just saying Lordship belongs to Jesus.
But what's his character like?
Well, that comes back to the second one this week where we talked about invitational. I think I'm seeing his absolute authority. I'm seeing him inviting people into a relationship with him and saying, hey, come to me, give me everything. I'm seeing him be a high bar, a directional. He's pruning. He's pruning those people. I think all of what we talked about this week summed up in this. I don't know. I can't come up with a one-size-fits-all answer for who Jesus is in this one. I'm going to have to get better at this when you interview me, Jeannie. I'm going to have an answer for everyone. What is Jesus in this? I can't think of one in this other than Lord. I think this is a high call. Put Jesus first.
Well, it's not one word, but let's hyphenate it into one word. All-knowing.
Yeah.
He seems to know all the answers to everything.
Yep. He's got all the answers. That's true. He knows all the answers indeed. He's certainly all-knowing. Well, you can say omniscient, and then it's all one word.
Yes. It's got to be a twinkle in his eye when he made that statement,
I don't doubt it. Yeah, a bit cheeky.
Yes.
It's probably worth noting here, on a side, this is one of only two political statements we see Jesus making that are related to earthly politics. See, Jesus' whole kingdom is political, but in a different way, from a different kingdom is from a different place, which is his other quote to Pilate, my kingdom is from another place. But here, Jesus does seem to be advocating that it's okay to live under an unjust, unfair system and pay your taxes.
That's right. We didn't even mention that, which is a big part of this statement.
Well, I think it shows that it has implications for how we live out our Christian life. Certainly, it doesn't allow us space to fight back, but it also doesn't allow us space to use the system for our benefit like the Jewish leaders were either. They were benefiting from kickbacks. I think we have to have a different view towards it, which says everything I have belongs to God first and foremost. And within that, I live at peace, honour the king, do all the things that Peter says in his letters, honour the leadership, but put Jesus first.
Yeah, I read it as we need to abide by the laws that we live under, but put Jesus first.
Put Jesus
Give him
first.
our heart.
Yep.
Give him everything that we are, even though we have to honour the system that we're within.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It shows it's a balanced perspective. But first and foremost, everything belongs to God. Give to God what belongs to God. And the answer you said was everything belongs to God.
Yes.
Everything we have, everything we are. All right. Anything else there?
I have nothing.
Do you know another nuggets of wisdom?
No, that this week has been a grueling week.
A grueling week of conversation,
yes.
But I do think this may well be our record week, Jeannie.
Record in timing?
In timing. Getting
or in
5,
excellence?
Well, I don't know about that one, but any excellence is you. But yeah, I reckon we've recorded in under record time by our standards. So let's just cut while we're ahead.
I think it's been a great conversation.
All right, great conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeannie.
It was my pleasure
to come back to winter and enjoy the cold weather.
It's not my pleasure to come back to winter, but my pleasure to sit here and discuss such things.
the word. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
And thanks, everyone. See you next time.